This video that I'm going to play to you, it is viral video and it is a very dangerous video. Yes. First of all, thank you so much for being here and thank you for your time, your energy and your support. I want you to watch and listen this video first before I talk. Listen to this.
Okay. This is going to be a long one. Focus. Focus. Some of y'all need to start taking some notes. I actually started writing down what's happening around us because it's a lot. No need to panic. Time for action. Anyway, the video that I'm about to post is this man. He is bringing this thing home to help us understand how all of this is connected. You're going to have to focus. And when I tell you, it is mind-blowing. This video is about 7 minutes long total from the moment I came on screen. 7 minutes. You're going to have to share this because the algorithm is not going to push it out. It is over 3 minutes long. Share, share, share. I promise it's worth your time. All right, here you go.
Okay, everyone, buckle up. I'm about to rapid fire on how Zionist Jewish supremacist tentacles have been metastasizing and infecting our planet in practically every major conflict in our modern era, which starts from their cancerous inception in the 1800s and then modernized by Theodor Herzl in 1897. You guys are all hearing about the wildfires in Argentina being started by Israeli tourists, all with the backing of this treasonous Zionist rat bastard, who happens to be the Trump and Israel-loving president of Argentina, colluding with Israelis to make Argentina yet another little Israel as they burn down one of the most beautiful regions in our planet, so that they can take the land at pennies to the dollar. Did you know that the Zionists have always been eyeing Argentina since their inception? Some early Zionist leaders, including Theodor Herzl, considered Argentina a potential location for a Jewish state due to its fertile land and openness to immigrants, with Jewish agricultural colonies already established there in the late 1800s. Where fast forward to now, there is a massive influx of Israelis, including IOF soldiers, that have moved to Argentina as their Jewish home. Israel is destroying Argentina right before our eyes. And don't you dare say this comes as a surprise to you now, because everything they touch becomes infected and destroyed. Don't believe me yet? Here's a historical rundown. Zionists worked with the Nazi government to forge the Havara Transfer Agreement, facilitating the traitorous mass murder of their fellow Jews and the immigration of German Jews to Palestine in 1933. 60,000 German Jews emigrated to Palestine between 1933 and 1939. Israel was forcibly created in 1948. As a result, the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO, was formed in 1964. Israel occupied and annexed Gaza and the West Bank in 1967. As a result, Hamas was then formed in 1987. Israel invaded Lebanon in 1978. As a result, Lebanon's Hezbollah was formed in 1982. JFK ordered the American Zionist Council, now called AIPAC, to register as an agent of a foreign government in 1962. JFK was assassinated in 1963. Israel built up the Rwandan forces from 1963 to 1973 and provided weapons to the Hutu regime through 1994. The Hutu power government of Rwanda perpetrated one of the worst genocides in history in 1994. Israel sends Jewish supremacist Dan Gertler to establish diamond mining and oil deals in the Congo in 1997, while Israel also provided weapons to Congo militias. As a result, the First Congo War occurs in 1997. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu authors a book in 1995 where he predicts Islamic militants will plant a bomb in the World Trade Center. 9/11 happens, while Israeli Mossad watch and infamously dance in celebration back in 2001. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu demands that the U.S. attack Iraq in 2002 over WMDs that never existed. As a result, U.S. invades Iraq in 2003 and kills over 1 million civilians. And just like the Iraq playbook, Israel pushes for the U.S. to invade Venezuela this year. And you already know the outcome of that. Israel starts practically every single war in the Middle East since 1948, or just last year, and even some of these countries into this year. Israel simultaneously bombed Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Qatar, and Iran. And speaking of Iran, aside from the several unprovoked Israeli bombings, Israel has sent their terrorist Mossad into Iran to wreak havoc and demonize Islam through hate-fueled protests and false flags while they are literally destroying and burning mosques as we speak, trying to make it seem like Iran as a whole is against their leaders, and that is not the case in the slightest. It is just a ploy to overthrow the current leadership and install a Zionist-loving puppet government. all courtesy of the US and Israel. And as we all know, Israel has been committing a live stream Holocaust in Gaza and destroying the West Bank and stealing land all across Palestine for not just over 2 years and counting, but for over 77 years, as their demonic ethno-state is still disregarding this bullshit ceasefire that doesn't exist while they continue to ethnically cleanse the population and steal the land until they establish their greater Israel. Israel is known to be the haven of pedophiles and rapists, with their supreme pedophile and rapist Jeffrey Epstein infiltrating our country to blackmail and control politicians on every side of the aisle, only to find out that most of our own leaders are pedophiles and rapists, just like him, in an endless cycle of pedophiles and rapists that are protecting each other from repercussion. Israelis and their fellow Jewish supremacists all over the world are known to have some of the largest networks of human sex trafficking on the entire planet, with even their head of cybersecurity being caught for pedophiling in Vegas before our pedophile in chief let him run away to the haven of pedophiles. Israel is known to have one of the largest networks of organ trafficking on earth, as they traffic Palestinian organs and tout that they have the largest skin bank on the planet, which predominantly consists of Palestinian skin. Jewish supremacists are notoriously known to be the premier thieves and embezzlers of the finance industry, with one of the most famous being the Zionist Bernie Madoff, where he stole from his own in the largest Ponzi scheme in history, taking money from Israeli and Jewish organizations. Israel is known to mass murder animals and use animals for demonic torture of humans. Israelis are fleeing by the masses and tormenting places like Thailand and Cyprus, where they are literally building settlements and driving the natives out of their homes. And we're clearly seeing what they are also doing to Argentina as we speak. Their sports fans are terrorists who sing about rape as they travel around the world, terrorizing city to city while supporting their terrorist soccer club. And this is all not even remotely touching on the fact that they continuously spit on international law and mock the ICJ and ICC, the highest courts of the land, while they control our governments, news networks, social media platforms, entertainment, banks, real estate, and tax dollars. Israel trains our police forces. Israel trains ICE. Israel supplies all privacy invading surveillance technology to our fascist governments, while they use their surveillance technology on our fascist governments. They say all of this to you in broad daylight, that they are the chosen ones and we are all goy, or non-Jewish animals that don't deserve what they deserve, which is essentially a privileged life where they can walk around and do whatever the fuck they want unchecked, which is exactly what we are watching today and have been watching for decades. The infuriating thing about this is that we are just watching and letting this all happen year after year. When will we all just stand up and realize that there has been one common enemy that we can all unite against? First step is to force them out of power, whether it's through votes or other means. We far outnumber the chosen ones. So it's time we choose the ones that serve no purpose in our society. You know exactly what I mean.
This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
Sudan.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, they haven't, it's not like that plan was followed perfectly to a T, but a lot of it sure was. It's like insane that this was just said. And that's not just like if we didn't have such a corrupt press, how do they not talk about that every day?
Every day.
Like, why does that never come up? Oh, it's like, oh, as we fought all of these wars, no one went, but this is exactly what I heard Mr. 4-star General tell me was your plan. And you've never come to the American people and said, this is my plan. You're just like, so, and what's really interesting about it, right, is it just reveals this the way propaganda works. Because if you think about it, we start fighting the war in Afghanistan. We're in the war in Afghanistan by late 2001. It's not till 2003 we're in Iraq, right? And then it's not till 2010 that we're in Libya. 2012 we're in Syria, you know, and then in Yemen, then in all the, and it's like each time they had their own little propaganda story for why we had to go into this war now. And you're like, no, motherfucker, this was always planned. You decided in 2001 you were doing this. So don't tell me this is because Gaddafi's about to go genocidal, or because Saddam has weapons of mass destruction, or because Bashar al-Assad is killing his own people. It's like, no. This is just your latest little excuse now for the war that you already wanted to do. And that's how this shit really works, man. It's like they decide they want to fight these wars. Then they make up a bullshit excuse that they tell the American people. Then these weapon companies rake in hundreds of billions of dollars in profits and babies get slaughtered. Like, that's what really happens. Like, innocent men, women, and children die, get exploded to death, starve to death, get displaced. Like, it's just the most evil shit in the world.
And we want to think.
The slaughter of millions of Christians? No. Because those who reject Christ are part of his mindset. So all that he has done in this statement has said the mark of Cain is upon our forehead, and we welcome into our midst anyone who has the same enmity against Jesus Christ. That's all he's saying. But they're clever. They hide it under this language so that you will not see it. Netanyahu thanks the Pope for Jewish exoneration. So Pope Benedict went a step further and exonerated them from the guilt of the crucifixion. He's very kind. He wields the power. He has the mark of Anu. He can do it. Sunday is our mark of authority. The church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. Catholic record. A person who violates the sanctity of Sunday is to be punished as a heretic. John Paul II. The EU must keep Sunday, says the Catholic Church, directing its attention against God's law in the public domain, yes or no? Yes. Catholic Church and trade unions form holy alliance to enforce Sunday observance. Let me take you down into the bellows of that 33-degree lodge in Washington. And this is Albert Pike's room. He is revered as a god down there. Everything is meticulous. And there on the windows it says, Ordo ab chaos, order out of chaos. We know that Albert Pike planned 3 world wars in a letter to Mancini. We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in its horror will show clearly that to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery and the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the minority of revolutionists will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity will receive the pure light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Here is the gigantic mural in the United Nations Security Council chamber. And there you see the phoenix rising out of the ashes of a destroyed mankind. Are we heading for the final clash? 2 lines, the rule of law and the rule of the Spirit. This is now a definition from Legal Dictionary. The rule of law according to law, rule under law, or rule according to...
War with Iran will be World War III. Iran is not alone, and it will not remain alone. With Russia, we are at possibility of peace, but we're also at a possibility of nuclear war. They're both very close. And if we go to war with Iran, we make nuclear war all the more likely.
Do you think that the people pushing us toward war with Iran understand that?
No, I think that they're following a plan, clean break, 1996, and a plan, 1991, 7 wars in 5 years, that has been deep set, and that has been Netanyahu's baby all the time. Netanyahu, I regard as one of the most delusional and dangerous people on the planet. He has engaged the United States so far in 6 disastrous wars, and he's aiming to engage us in yet 1 more. We're not standing up for Israel. We are engaging in war on Israel's behalf all over the Middle East. That's a completely different thing. Nothing that has happened in the Middle East has been for American national security. None of it. Not one of these wars. These have been net.
Now, welcome back. It's a very dangerous video. You have heard that. That is a man speaking with confidence, speaking with the emotions, connecting wars, history, politics, and power into a single narrative. And I'm going to be honest with you. when you hear this video, you start to connect some dots. Okay? You start to connect some dots. And I'm not going to react emotionally. I'm going to react with maybe facts or history. Because it may be truth. It may not be truth. But when I start to connect, for example, the war that is going on right now between America and Iran, it was started by some kind of group. The war of the Ukraine, Russia, those in Yemen, it was started. The war that is happening in Congo, Sudan, or all these countries, someone started it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I remember a time where someone, I don't know if it's Bill Gates, who said that they're going to reduce people in Africa. And someone said they created this virus. Someone said they have created this sickness. So in one way or the other, nothing that is happening on the face of the world that the elites don't know. Okay? There's some multiple wars have been out there. Multiple countries in multiple wars, different times, periods. And it makes sense of this guy talking like that. And he constructed a master narrative. He's talking about the Jews. He's talking about the one who are behind this, orchestrating these wars and everything. Okay? And let me not take this and blame it on one group. Let's not talk that it is Jews who did this, or it is blacks who did this. But some elite, maybe they are on the Jews community, they are on the blacks community, they are on the whites community or Latino or Asian community, but it's a few individuals sat down and decided, you know what, we are creating chaos in this world. Everything he said in this video, not all of them are doubtful. Some are 100% truth. Okay? He said, he mentioned about Zionist starting in the 1800s. That history, it is historically accurate. The movement became more organized under Theodore Herzl in 1897, and Zionism was a response to persecution of Jews in Europe. Zionism was a response, or was a response to lack of homeland, was a response to rising of nationalism across Europe. So yes, Zionism was there in 1800s. On that video, he has talked about early consideration of Argentina, and he mentioned Argentina being considered. It is true. There was a discussion in early Zionists through thought about possible locations, including parts of South America. But what's most important is that these were ideas. Okay? So there is something deeper that's going on that we don't know. He talks about wars, bombing, and conflict. Yes, there's a real suffering. And I'll tell you for a fact, some people are behind this. Sometimes it's not about what you see. Sometimes it's about economic. Sometimes it's about oil. Sometimes it's about security. Sometimes it's just about being, you see, everything that is happening in this world, someone somewhere has a hand in it. People cannot just wake up. Imagine you, when you talk about the Rwanda massacre, Rwanda and Burundi, you just wake up and you start fighting your own brothers and sisters. You kill your brothers, you kill your wife. Who does that? There is someone behind it. And that someone, we will say, they are the politicians who are there. And who are behind these politicians? Someone behind them. So there's a chain of the truth that we need to talk about, and that's why I did not want to go deeper into this video. Okay? Each and every country has its own interests. So uniting under one country and not being allowed to speak can't make sense, But for example, let me talk about this one idea. history has been telling us about a lot of wars that is going on. Wars here, war there, war the other side. That is a history. But as the Gen Zs or this coming generation, we need to come here and we need to censor what message pass and what message don't pass. And that's why I'm looking forward to have a black-owned media. I'm looking forward to have a black-owned media. Okay? So like the war in Rwanda, that war was engineered. Okay? It is engineered. So, yes, when I talk about Jews, to be precise, Jews are being related to Asian people, you talk about Jews, you talk about us. We can't go. So you see what is happening here. Geo people, I hear they're the most powerful people in the world, and that's why I do not want to talk about them that much. I don't want to lose my channel. Okay? But you have heard that video, and I want you to say something on the comment section about it, okay? Peace out.